Welcome to another episode of Soul Filling, where you get your soul fed. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Kobe.
Well, and today we are talking about the power of a woman and the complexities that come to it. So when I say the power of women, the power of Black women, ladies, what comes to your mind?
I just think about our greatness, just all the wonderful mothers and grandmas, and just
And
all the Black women in positions of power. I think
yeah,
about, being in Houston, we had all those women who became judges. And, you remember that period? I think, was it early this year or was it
yes.
last year? Yes.
Last
I
year.
just think about everything, all of it. Our ancestors, our daughters, our cousins, our sisters, our just everybody.
Mm,
Yes.
I'm with Kobe. I'm with Kobe. She like literally all encompassed it all. Like seriously, I'm just thinking about our strength, our compassion, like our willingness to go out here and get it, like no matter what all the obstacles and barriers. It's just like when a Black woman got her mind made up. Oh, you already know, like I can run through a brick wall with the amount of passion that's inside of my soul, like. And I just, it all just, it's a spiraling effect from all the powerful Black women that has been monumental in my life, like Kobe said, like family members, my aunts, my grandmother, just everybody, just every Oprah, Auntie Oprah, even though she hate when people call her Auntie Oprah, but Auntie Oprah, Beyonce's, like I just feel like Kamala's, it's more of us out here. We just constantly being birthed every second.
Yes, I totally agree. And that's exactly like how this topic came to be because, Kamala Harris, she is our
Yes.
vice president, not only the first Black vice president, the first woman vice president, period, and the first Southeast Asian vice president. She did three things in one, the first Jamaican, you know. And so,
The birds, right?
yes. And then with Stacey Abrams, like, yo, I was just, I was just like, wow. I felt like, and I don't want to sound like my big egoed or big headed, but I was like, I could see me in them, or yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
wow. It's just like, if they can do this, I can do amazing things in my life, in my area of expertise, or whatever I have in my mind that I think is too big. Seeing that made me realize it's not.
Right.
The strength of a woman is like unmatched. Okay, let's talk about it. And like
Yeah.
when y'all were just calling out all those people's names, I think about my mom. I think about my grandma. I think about Harriet Tubman. I think about Dion Ivory. Like these are Alex L. Like all these like women come to mind, and these are all women from different generations. Some people I know, some people I don't, but it's just like wow. And Instagram, I feel like, is a very good place to be able to see how powerful Black women are. It based on like how you curate your feed, who are you following? And so I follow a lot of amazing, powerful, creative Black women that inspire me every day. And I'm just like, seeing that makes me realize I can do anything and everything I want. I deserve luxury. I deserve love. I deserve happiness. I deserve a career of my dreams. Like, I deserve just abundance of life. And that is the power of a Black woman. There's so many things. So I just want to cover that. And the reason why I just feel like as Black women or women in general, and I go back and forth between the two because being powerful, the word powerful, sometimes has a negative connotation. Like powerful, like for Black women, oh, she's too aggressive, or powerful as in she's so powerful, she's such a leader, she doesn't deserve other things like love or children and stuff like that. So there's like sometimes powerfulness is tied to a negative connotation, but being able to see women in power, but also have all the other things and also be soft, it just really, it's just, they're just so beautiful. so I don't know really where to start, but that, I don't know, do y'all have any hiccups about being powerful, or do y'all feel like y'all have tapped into your power?
Mm-hmm. Not really. I don't know. That's a tricky question. Do I feel like I've tapped into? Yes and no. Like, because as a girl, just that transition from, I'll say this. I was a debutante whenever, so I knew like becoming a woman was like a big thing, but still, even at that age, we did it when we were seniors in high school. So 17, 18 years old. Like, we did an etiquette class. We went and volunteered. We, talked about posture and, different things like, it was just a whole bunch of classes and group activities that we did together. And, they tried to, implement that in us and really show us, how we're supposed to act and, present ourselves as women. But I really didn't truly understand the power of being a woman until, I got older. And, you start stepping into certain rooms and you see how, things shift, how people, like, ooh, okay, or when you see how people, as a Black woman, people react to you when you react a certain way or when you don't react a certain way. So I don't know, like it took some time. Like I understood as a, even as a teenager, like, okay, it's something about this. Like we have a whole ceremony about transitioning to being a woman. But, it wasn't until I got older that I really stepped into that and owned that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's about owning it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I just feel like, I feel like it's an evolutionary kind of thing. Like Kobe was saying, like you at 18 or 17, 18, you really may not have really knew your true power. But I think, especially doing something like such as being a debutante, it really does give you that well-rounded view. It's like a blueprint kind of. I think it's a powerful tool that is it should be exercised. But when you move, I just think based on your life experiences, those experiences as a woman being put in certain situations, those are the true defining moments that really cultivate you as a woman that shows you like, maybe, okay, maybe this works when I, behave or act in this manner, or, oh no, this is not working. So let me not do that anymore. And one of the things I like to say is, for me growing up, a lot of things I just kind of, I just adapted. And I like to use the saying, ignorance is bliss. And because through a lot of just my upbringing, I was kind of living in a very, I don't even know the word. I was living more so with tunnel vision, if you will. Like I knew that there were, being a Black woman, that there were certain things that you should or should not do or labels, but I never really truly took on and paid attention and carried that baggage. So like, let's say for instance, when I speak in meetings or when I'm having to move in certain powers, or I'm being evaluated by higher ups and things of that nature, I don't really even think about, like the certain limitations that Black women have. Like, oh, she gonna be aggressive if she say this, or she gonna do. I'm just thinking like, forget the labels. This is just how Jasmine feel. This is how I feel. I'm not, and maybe that's a bad way of going about it, or I'm not really necessarily sure, but I know that it does help me move a lot more freer. It helps me move freely in the environment, and it makes me, not feel like I can't talk because I'm going to be stereotyped, or it doesn't make me feel like I can't do a certain thing. Like I know for hair was, is always been, as a Black woman, the ethnic, the ethnicity hair transition has always been one of those things, especially for us. But right now, I think those limitations are kind of already out the door. But I never even before, back when it was limitations, I just kind of saw it as, this is what I wanted to take on. But then when the outside world started to put the limitations on, even, I've talked about this in past podcasts, like even family members was trying to like, hey, you know what you're doing? You Black, you can't do that. And, you have to have your perm, your straight wrap and press. And I'm like, oh, what they got to do with anything? I just know I want my hair like this. So so it was just kind of like a really, like, I was living in my own world. Like, if I should say that, like, I just wanted to do me and flow. So I think it all just comes when we tap into our power as Black women, just being authentic. Being open to know that, like, hey, some things you do may not be the right way for a professional environment or for a workplace setting, and being able to adjust and adapt so that, you can move freely, but then also not confiding yourself so much so to the point where you don't even know, or you lose who you are, you lose your voice, you lose your expression. Yeah. So I'm constantly tapping in my power to answer the question.
That limitations part, that's real. And the thing is, like, you can tell when certain people, and not just white people, but just others, haven't been around a lot of Black people, because they're like, asking you certain questions about your hair, just your way of living. And so that is like where I'm like, people are judging, us based off of, they're judging Black people based off of, this one encounter, with me or, somebody else, So that is where, where it's like, okay, I gotta, represent for the Black people,
But if I can be real with you, like, and sorry to say, it is some Black women out there that do really, really fall into the lines of these categories of these stereotypes. Yeah. And if you encounter, and I don't think it's all law of attraction, because if you get one stereotype and now you're expecting all Black women to behave that way, you're most likely going to attract other Black women that behave that same way. So you're getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 29, 30 encounters, and you're like, okay, I'm so Black women, they just act like that. But then, and then when they do come across that I don't even want to call us an anomaly, but a Black woman that does do things differently, they're shocked. They're like, why are you not behaving like all the other Black women that I knew, with the snappy attitudes and whatever the case may be?
Yeah. Well, I feel like this. I like the fact that you don't put limitations on, like, you don't walk into the room and it's like, oh, this is what they're gonna think about me or something like that. Yes. That is power. It's just showing up for as yourself and knowing that that's enough. And it may be that sometimes those limitations are just our own, and no one's even thinking about your hair, no one's thinking about your skin. And it just varies with what room you're in. Some rooms, they are going to be looking at you sideways. Some other rooms, they're going to be like very welcoming. But in any room, you have to, like you were saying, Jazz, be yourself. Because when you're authentically yourself, when you're authentically knowing that you're worthy, that's when you could see who is for you and who is not. We talk about this all the time. If someone can't handle you, then they could see their way out, or you just know that you don't need to pay attention to them anymore, or you need to move different, like based off of how people treat you. You move accordingly. Okay, and that's your power. And so I think that what you said is really, really strong, because it's just like, you cannot allow society, what people see on TV, dictate how you act, how you show up, and what you think about yourself. You have to come into the room, and rather and I want to clarify to where, like, when y'all are saying like showing, snappy attitude and stuff like that, if anybody has whether you're a Black woman or white woman or any kind of woman, just being like a snappy attitude is not a good thing. As opposed to if you show up and you're loud, that's fine. Like, if that's you, because that's me. Like, I'm loud. I'm like, hey y'all, this is what we should do. Da, 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 da. I'm keying. I'm boom. But if you don't like it, that's on you, because at the end of the day, I know what I bring to the table. I know I'm coming from a good place, but I can see if it's like, it just depends on where you're at. So I don't want to say like some of these stereotypes that we have, not all of them are negative, and some of them are true. We laugh loud. Yeah, we are a tribe. Yeah, we talk with our hands. Yeah, we use different language, but that doesn't make us lower than anyone. That actually brings life to it. That's the culture. That's why everybody want to act like us. And so while people may look down on some of those things, I want them to know, like, if that's how you are, there's power in that. Like, there's power in the way you talk. There's power in the way you walk. There's power in the way you wear your hair, the way your skin glistens. Okay, Black woman, because although they may look down on it, they're going to be trying to reduplicate it on TikTok the next day. So that's what I got to say. That on that. Okay.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just like, because, people talk about Black folks, but they just always try to duplicate it. And what I'm saying, if there's no harm coming across in anything, if you're not giving an attitude for no reason, if you're not being malicious, it's okay to be who you are. I think so. And I think we should be, and I think as we grow on social media, and it does depend on, whether you're in corporate America and things of that nature, because I'm in a very creative space. So 5 years ago, I was wearing an afro. I walked into an interview like that. It didn't matter to me, so, but I was in a different space, like a creative space. So you kind of just have to know where you're at. So
that's what I was going to touch on, based on your environment. And I tell my students this all the time. I know a lot of them like walking around, hey, so miss, we not gonna do this work today. I'm like, y'all, or wearing crop tops to class. I'm like, you cannot come in here with a crop top on. Go call your mama, tell her to bring you a new shirt. And so I think it just, because if we're being honest, we got some of our sisters, and they might just want to, like, go to Walmart with the bonnet on their head. And my coach, that was one thing. She was like, y'all will not leave your dorm room in your night cap. Like, I don't play that. Just certain, I don't know. There's just certain, and the thing I'm trying to say is, in certain environments, we do need to know how to wear those different hats. We have to wear many hats, y'all. And this is not even just as Black women. This is all women. We have to learn to wear many hats, and we have to know when to be presentable and when, to let loose and go wild because you're with your friends. And so that is a matter of, and you always just have to understand what space are you in. Like, if you're in that creative space and your job calls for you to be, loud and vibrant and just creative and be, you're like 100% authentically. I don't want to tell people not to be themselves, but it's tricky, because like when you're in a professional environment, there's a certain professionalism that you want to uphold, just to, I don't want to say blend in, but you don't want to create certain friction, unnecessary friction, so to speak. And then if you're trying, it's a game. Mm-hmm. It is a game. And I want all Black women to understand how, not even just Black women, but really Black women, but all women to really I'm speaking from personal experience because I even have to tell my nieces and nephews, or mainly nieces and nephews, but my nieces like, okay, come on, y'all. I understand you want to do this and you want to wear the little shorty shorts, but if we going to a five-star restaurant or to a church, I'm gonna need you to, switch it up a little bit. Like, come on, like let's have some coof about ourselves. Let's have some pride. And so I think it does take a great deal of women that got some sense, that don't judge those that may not have been exposed. We don't know upbringings and environmental your environment that you're raised in. Maybe you wasn't taught these certain set of expectations or boundaries, or how to have an inside voice and an outside voice and a party voice and a best friend voice and a voice with your coworkers and a voice with your higher ups. And so maybe it's all about learning how to navigate and wear those many hats and code switch. That's what I wanted to really talk about. Knowing how to code switch. That will get us so much further in life, because everyone do it. White people, Black people, Asian people, Chinese people, it don't matter. A lot of people are code switching based on what environment that they're in. Now, if you want to be a rapper and your job description entails you to be this way, then maybe your code switch needs to be that 365. But if you got to go, to support your rap dream, you got to go put on this suit and tie, then you're going to have to learn how to code switch so that you can fuel your dream. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on code switching, because that's really key. Because sometimes we get, oh, I'm myself, I'm gonna be myself no matter what environment I'm in. Y'all better take me as I am. And it's like, okay, we could take you as I am, but then you want to be someone that's easy to work with the team, to be able to flow. You can have disagreements without being disrespectful.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the last thing I'm gonna say on that is, in my previous jobs, I, was like, why am I not able? Like, I know I'm capable of being able to, take on these leadership positions, but I couldn't. And, before I left, someone told me, and they were like, the reason you didn't make it to where you probably, wanted to be is because, you're able to connect with, these people and these, the women in the roles, but, it's like a lot of the higher ups were white men. And so they were just like, they felt like, you were a little bit uptight, they couldn't connect with you. So like, I had to really learn, y'all, how to connect with white men. I don't know what it is, but that was a struggle for me. And
that's good.
Trying to find that common ground with, because as a women, it's certain things you can talk about in certain ways you could connect with them. And, you have siblings. Okay. You have a family. You're a mother. I'm a mother. It's ways you can connect and find that common ground. Oh, you like to skate? Okay. I like to swim. Okay. You like to play, it was hard when it came to white men. It was like they had certain experiences and talked about certain things, that I had. So it took me, like exposing myself to other things other than just what I was comfortable with, and to be able to connect with them. So yeah.
Talk about it. That's so good that you mentioned that, Kobe. Like I think that's my barrier that I'm trying to overcross right now in life and work and things like that. But because that's real though, when you think about it, these are things that we don't even think about because it's so normal and for other people that, because it's basically about shared experiences. And that's why in all the little self-help and motivational books I read, they often say, just because you like reading one literature and like watching one type of specific genre, or go and force yourself to read something about fishing, or force yourself to read something about space dynamics, I don't know, like just completely off the grid that you wouldn't, because you never know when you could just start holding and bouncing a conversation back and forth with somebody that's interested in that thing. And so you onto something big.
Look, hanging out with Kyle has definitely helped me because I be like, okay, when we fishing, I'm asking questions like, okay, what kind of rod? What is this? What do we? This is freshwater, saltwater. All right, what type, equipment do we need? Look, when he cooking and outside grilling and doing certain things, I'm asking questions because I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna know what I'm talking about next time somebody,
Yes, that's good. That's so good.
That's real, yeah.
That's so interesting. I never dealt with straight white men in a job place, so I don't know. I've never. Well, maybe my first job, but it was a nonprofit, so I guess things were very different. So I really don't know about anything in that space about like connecting, but I realized like as I'm growing and evolving as a woman, I feel my heart is more open to everybody, if that makes sense. And I'm like feel the need, not the need, but like the want to really just get to know everyone in every space. Like working at Be Busy, I wanted to learn more about, transgender and the LGBT community, and then now like working with other people, I'm more open to working with like knowing the experiences of people that aren't just Black women or Black men. And it's only because I just know there's so much power in there's power in Black community being together, but it's also power in just connecting with other people, because that's the way we're really going to be able to be unified and be able to like realize like, oh, we're not that different, and we could work together for the greater good. And I think like as women, we are connectors. Like we are able to connect with other people and nurture relationships. And I think it's good to tap into it, and your mind will expand, your experience will expand, your learning will expand. God didn't put us all here on this earth just to be, separate from each other.
Right. And your connections will expand as well. Like I think we really were created to, I know in America we would be lying if we didn't acknowledge the fact that race is our Achilles heel. Although that's one of the things that make us the most powerful countries at the same time. It's like a blessing and a curse in it of itself. But I truly know that we're all way, way more alike than we are different if we like remove the external labels. Like we all want the best for our family. We all want, and it wasn't until, because I think me working at the school that I work at is predominantly Hispanic, but the staff we have a very diverse staff, is mainly Hispanic and white and we have a lot of, I don't know, we have a really diverse staff group, if I would say. But like, I've always had to, being in the biology department, I've always worked with a vast group of white, a vast group of Hispanic. And so with knowing that, and so with being in that space, and even with my students, majority Hispanic, just wanted to help them, like not even caring what color they are. And when they come to me, they don't care what color I am. Most of them don't. Like you will get, oh miss, you making me do this because I'm Hispanic. I'm like, boy, if you don't sit your behind down, I'm making everybody do this in the whole classroom. But it's like, for the most part though, you really develop these strong connections, and like them telling you that you're your favorite teacher in spite of what race they are. And like, it doesn't even matter when all that is said and done. What matters is, me wanting to see them do the best they can, me wanting to, see them thrive. I had one of my students on today, I was about to say Friday, but on Friday, tell me like, miss, like, because I've been having motivational Mondays where I show them a motivational video, and then they have to write their goals and tell me like their weaknesses and tell me how they're going to turn those weaknesses into strengths. And like, we've been like starting to do that on a more frequent basis. I just started, we did like 2 already. And so after class yesterday, I did one on Friday, and I called it Thankful Friday because we were going into Thanksgiving. And then one of my students just stayed after class, and he was like, miss, I want to go to college. And I was like, and he's a senior. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to find a college that's good in architecture. And so we were talking, he's like, but I don't know where to start because, you know, college is not something normal in family. Like, you know, normally we just go into business. Like he was telling me he's been working in his dad's company, like doing flooring and carpeting and for like years since he was like, I think he said 11. And so I was just like, wow, that's an amazing trade, like even to have in and of itself. And so we were just talking and just like, you know, seeing the growth and the development, that was just a rewarding experience. It didn't matter to me what his race was. It made a difference that like someone in the youth is, and because he literally told me I inspired him to, you know, seek out other bigger and larger goals in life outside of just, you know, working in his dad's business, which I kept trying to reiterate, like, that is really good that your dad's a business. But he was like, you know, I just want to try something new. And I'm like, that is amazing. And so if more of us could just see that all we want to do is just be successful and be able to help and give back to our families, instead of looking at the mundane things like the color of our skin, like that really truly don't even matter at the end of the day. Like when it's all said and done, it really does not, but it does at the same time. But for representation purposes, it does. But it's deeper. It's so much deeper. Like I feel like our skin does matter, but the unity is so much deeper. It's so much deeper. But that's just me.
No, both of y'all hit on some great points, and it just made me think about our power as women and how we influence and contribute or encourage men. So not just our partners or, you know, our family members, but even in the workspace, like that is one of our powers, is that we really do have the power to influence and change the game. Like I think about this movie called The Adjustment, and if y'all haven't checked it out, definitely recommend it. It's really good. But it's really about this one woman who, like, because of this one interaction with this man, she inspired him to give a speech. Like he was a political figure or whatever. And if that interaction didn't happen, he wouldn't have gave this speech. He wouldn't have been the person that he was. He wouldn't have changed the world how he did. He wouldn't have, you know, so it was just like, he had to run into this person. And so the movie is a lot deeper than that. It's like they have a team of people that set up these interactions to make sure that the world basically, you know, goes on. It doesn't, you know, destruct itself. And that was one of the interactions that they had that had to happen. This man had to meet this woman. And it's just a symbol to me of just how powerful we are, like as women. Like, we have the power to, you know, tempt a man to you know, to do, you know, something not so well, you know, to bring him down, to drag him down. But we also have the power to encourage him, to speak life into him, to, you know, turn that house into a home, to take those groceries and turn it into a meal, you know, to take those ideas and, you know, birth it into a business or into something great, you know. Yeah. Like we really do have that power.
Yeah. And it's really good for us to know that power, because it just shapes the way you walk through life. And like, and it's just good to have people to Black women have really been, Black women and also Black men, when I say like my brother, like have really been who have made me realize like who I am and my power and my value, because they affirm that every single day. Like, nah, Tiff, like you got this, you're worth more than this. No, go for it and stuff like that. And then it just finally clicked, like, wait, I am the dictator like of my life. I am worthy. I am valuable. And if it hadn't been for a Black woman to like say you need to be paid more, this is too low. If my mom wasn't saying you'll be great in the land, you could do anything. If my brother wasn't like, no, when he says like you're amazing, and it reaffirms like, oh, okay, this is true. And now I have the power. So like now when I walk in the room, when one day I was undervaluing myself. I'll no longer do that. As I walk in a room, I don't look down as if like men are higher than me or I need to impress them, but they might need to impress me now, because I have it. Like it's like the power of knowing like you got it and you embody everything you need. And it's a joy to be around me. It's valuable to be around me or to have you in my life. And this is just whether that's a work setting, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a friendship. And so walking with that power, it allows you to know when, like I said earlier, like who are you gonna let take your time? And I'm talking about both work and relationship and friendship, and who won't. Because at the end of the day, when you know your power and you have confidence in yourself and you know your value, you know you're worthy, then you just don't allow certain things. And you shouldn't. But also, that's just one thing. You also know that you can produce good things, that you're able to do amazing things. And why I bring up other women so much and what they do is because it's just such an encouragement for me. It's like, oh, you could do that. That means I can too. Like, I just see it so much that I'm just like, it makes it click in your mind. Like, you can do it. I can too. And that's why it's so important for people to share their testimonies, to share when they're doing good and share what they're going through, because that encourages the next woman to be all that she can be. So it's just like, I've been learning that, especially this year in 2020.
So I have a question. So that made me think, how do we get to that knowing, or how have you ladies got to that knowing of your power? What are some practices? What are some things that y'all do so that y'all can get to knowing like your value, your worth? What do you think has well, I know you mentioned, Tiff, like your mom and speaking life and your brother speaking life. So in addition, or Kobe, maybe you can add on to it now. Like, what are some things that helped you walk in your power along this journey? Because I know we don't get there just by, waking up one morning and be like, I'm powerful. It was certain things.
I'm glad you brought that up, because it is and that's why I love life. And that's why before we got on the podcast, I was talking about, soul filling, we about to do it. And I was excited because it's just crazy how your mind shifts from when you're born to when you're a kid to when you're a teenager, mid-20s, late 20s, onward and on forth. Because the amazing thing about life is you keep learning, you keep getting better, you keep evolving. There's so much potential. And I was listening to Bob Proctor, and he was like, and Lewis Howes, like, will you ever reach your potential? And he was like, no, because we have infinite potential. And that's the cool thing about life. So now it's just like what I saw last year, or just a few months ago, I'm now seeing, I see something different. Like for last year or a few months ago, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know I need to write things down. I know I need to speak things into existence. I know. Now I'm like, oh, I see these, I wrote this down. It happened. Now I see these other people doing this. You have to see it. You have to visualize it. You have to see it. People have to know. I'm like, well, I can do that. Now I'm like, oh, it's really possible, because I'm seeing it so much. I'm like, now I'm embodying it. I can feel it. I can see it. And I believe it when I write it down. And I believe it when I say it. I believe it when I visualize it. Because back then it was like, I'm gonna write it down. Let's see if it happens. Now I'm like, oh, when I write things down, it happens. And so, and that comes from surrounding yourself with women who empower you, surround yourself on your feed with the books that you read, with the podcasts that you listen to. Really, what are you putting into your soul? That's what you have to ask yourself. And then also knowing who to go to. So like, I was just asking my friends, Tiana and Safia, shout out to y'all girls, I know y'all be listening, but about like how much I should charge for a certain thing. And they're like, oh, Tiff, you do this, and this. I'm like, dang, you're right. I do deserve that. And I think it's a thing about deserve. You think a lot of times we don't think that we deserve something, or I'm not good enough, or you're good, but you just like, but would they give me this? But it's like, yeah, to the side, and it's a practice every single day. And so that's why I'm just so grateful for the evolution. And so soulmates, if you're listening now and you're like, I'm not there yet, it's okay, because you will get there. One day it will spark, So
Yeah. That's
No,
good.
I totally agree. It's the same. Like, it's been different instances in my life that has transitioned and made me like transcend in that power. Some of them were books like The Secret, The Alchemist. Like, those books really transformed my mind and my thinking. Like Tiff was saying, just being able to write down certain goals, accomplish those goals, like that really just, it puts a confidence in you that just is nobody can take from you. It's just, oh no, I can do this. Like, once I write it down, once I believe it, like she said, once I see it, once I know, once I've seen somebody else do it, like nothing can stop me from seeing or believing that I can do it. Another big thing was our healthy like lifestyle transition. Like, once I was able to recognize and realize that, okay, I am so much more than a size or a number on the scale or just this, sex symbol. I am a human. Like, my body is a temple. Like, it was made to produce life, like we were talking about earlier. It's so much more valuable than just this aesthetic and the curves or whatever. Like, once I understood that, I became more motivated to take care of myself and to take care of my skin, my eyes, my, hearing, my teeth, my hair, just every part of me, from the top of my head to the sole of my feet. Like, I was just like, okay, I am valuable. I am worth something. So, like, when people see me, they see my flesh. This is what they see. So I just wanted to take care of that and really own that and really, present the best version, of myself. So that was a big thing. And then, becoming pregnant, like just within this year recently, being pregnant, it just made me realize, exactly what Tiff was talking about earlier with her mom, is that, my duty as a parent is to really help my child form that positive belief about themselves, about life, about other people, because it's imperative. It is, as we see with Tiffany and how she is and how great and wonderful she is. And, even with ourselves, like, it's important for us to have a positive belief about ourselves, a positive outlook about ourselves and our lives, because it really affects how we go about and do things in this world.
So true. So true. Two major things that y'all just said that really just stood out to me is, once you identify within yourself, once you're able to truly, because from what I'm understanding, it is great to have people that's around you that's speaking life into you, but it's like, until what they say click and register and you believe it for yourself, that's when you really stepping into your true power. You see the value. Ooh, because like Kobe was saying, the value is so much more than just this external shell that we have. And like, one thing y'all both touched on about the knowledge that you gained from books, the knowledge that we gained from podcasts, YouTube video. I mean, we joke about all the time, but YouTube is YouTube University right now. I'm just saying, like, we get so much Not like, I'm not lying. When I was in college, YouTube, I would literally go to my lectures in class and I go type in that subtopic on YouTube, what I just learned, and it literally helped me learn all the stuff I just learned in class 30 minutes ago. But no, seriously, it's something about when you get this knowledge and through the books, y'all, through that literature. The books is one thing that has stood from the test of time. We still have literature from thousands of years ago that we still read onto today, and it still applies so strong in our lives. And because with it, and it makes me think of the saying, knowledge is power. And I wanted to bring this up, and we were talking about this earlier today, right before we having pre-podcast before the podcast. But basically, I wanted to talk about how us as Black people, we know that systematic oppression is real. We know that there are certain systems that has literally tried to keep us out from wealth, that has, structures in place that tried to keep us away from power and tried to keep us, like, as far out of thriving as we possibly can. But to evade that system, I want to say, and this is probably why we wasn't allowed to read for so long, is when you get that knowledge, like when you're reading these books or listening to these audio books and listening to these podcasts that's dropping real life gems, nobody can take that away from you. No one, because once you soak up, it's just like, oh, only thing, and they talked about this, the only reason why we are most likely, why we fear some things, not all things, some fear is good, but the reason why we fear a lot of things, maybe you fear buying a house because we don't have the knowledge yet. Maybe you fear start a company is because you probably haven't had the knowledge. Maybe you fear, you fear certain aspects of life, but when you've been studying for your test and you've been preparing, you just kind of shrug it off like, oh, I'm good, I got this. Like, I'm pretty sure someone can offer it to a social media job and you're not gonna be scared like, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know, like if I'm well qualified yet, because like, oh, I didn't study, I didn't put in the work, I got all the knowledge there is to, not all there is to know, but I got a great plethora of knowledge in this one particular area, so I know I can almost do this in my sleep. And so I encourage us to get knowledge of ourselves, get knowledge of whatever it is that we want to do in life, because the system can only hold you down if you don't build yourself up. So if we building ourselves up with knowledge and just learning, because I'm gonna give us an example. Like, I'm gonna give an extreme example. So with the whole Trump tax cut, he paid only $750, whatever, in taxes. And it's like, instead of us being emotional and being like, oh, what he did is wrong. But when we fact check it, I'm sorry to say, guys, but it's most likely probably legal. What he did is not illegal. And the reason why is because the wealthy has been exposed to certain levels of knowledge. I mean, and I won't even say they have been exposed, because the knowledge is available to us as well. It is. It's just sometimes we choose not to even delve into the knowledge, or we don't even think about it. We don't even know where to start. We don't even know how to even get to learn. But what I will say is, we live in an information age. And one way he probably did, I don't know if it's the whole way he did it, but did y'all know, and I talk about this on all podcasts because I'm looking into it heavily right now, but there's something in real estate, and he's known for his real estate investing. There's something called a 1031 exchange, y'all. And I want y'all to know how powerful this 1031 exchange is. And I wrote it down somewhere, but this allows you to avoid paying taxes on your investment property. It has to be investment, keyword investment property, if you agree to reinvest the money that you gain from your property on new property. So basically, it's like a balloon. You become your own bank. The bank allows you to say, okay, I want to spend $250,000 here. Okay, I can borrow a whole nother $250,000. And as long as I'm buying another property, I'm not going and buy a yacht with this and going on vacay and splurging on my family. As long as you agree that you're going to use this to, and so think about it. If you watch, rinse, repeat that cycle over and over again until you own 80 properties. And then look, this is why we got to get into laws, because there's hardcore literature laws have written about this, it will allow you to defer those taxes. Guess for how long, y'all?
Wow.
For life. For life. And so, that's what I'm like, what? So you look and appear like you swimming in debt, but in actuality, all you have to do is die, pass those assets to your offspring in a trust, and guess what? The taxes go away. They go away. I'm like, that's crazy. So it's like free money that's being given, and we don't know this stuff. We don't even know that this is even a thing to even start. At least, like, where do I even start with something like that? Like, who do I consult with? Like, but it's so much knowledge out there, so many things that we ain't even scratched the surface because we haven't been exposed, we haven't read the right books. And I got this out of the Robert Kiyosaki's guide to I read like something. It's not the cash flow quadrant, or maybe it is the cash flow quadrant. It's the cash flow quadrant. I think it talk about it in this one, or it's either the one that is not Rich Dad Poor Dad. He don't get that deep in this one. He got to go to another one. But I'm just saying, y'all, it's knowledge out here, and when we have this knowledge, it's like, I'm gonna give y'all another example. I was buying some jewelry, some gold jewelry. I went to the jeweler, and the jeweler tried to like upcharge me to close to $1,000. And so I was like, oh, look, I know precious jewelry. I got the knowledge in this area. So you can't try to pull one on me. Like, I know how much each ounce of gold supposed to cost for the carat of gold, whether it's 10, 14, 18, or 24 carats. I'm like, you can't try to rent it. Like, so the numbers. So I'm over here typing up the numbers, showing the dealer, like, okay, this is what I'm actually supposed to be charged for this for each ounce. She's like, well, the gold market has rose recently because of the recession. And I was like, and so long story short, like, they were trying to upcharge me, and then I end up paying literally I told you the story, like literally almost $700 less. But it's just because of the knowledge. When we have knowledge, even when you, whatever venue you decide to go through or go to, it's like we have to learn the knowledge or the information and apply it to what we're trying to do, because it don't matter what color you are. If you can show people hardcore facts, and maybe they might not accept it, but if you go to another person, show them the facts, maybe they might not accept it. It's like we just have to keep going to different people. Maybe we might end up having to go to 20 people, but don't get burnt out and gassed out and give up and just settle and be like, the system don't work for us. I'm gonna just give up. I'm gonna throw the towel in.
Yeah, that's so good. Knowledge is definitely power. Basically, you can't get played if you know knowledge. If you have knowledge, someone can't shortchange you. But also just knowing that even you have to start to gain knowledge. So those people who want to get into real estate, social media marketing, YouTube, whatever you want, it's okay if you don't know everything right now. By starting and reading and delving in, that's a start. Starting, like, now that I know that I've undercharged, now I realize, like, oh, now going into whatever next thing I have, I will charge my worth. And so don't beat yourself up if you don't know. Just know that you'll figure it out. Like Marie Forleo said, another powerful woman, Marie Forleo, everything is figure outable. So just figure it out. That's the power that we have. God gave us the power to figure things out. Okay. I did want to say something about what Kobe was saying about the body. It's just because it is extraordinary and powerful. And me and my nephew, we went to the museum, the Health and Science Museum, like Thursday, because it was free. And and so they gave this like presentation on the heart, and she was just basically saying like why people have heart attacks, how the heart moves, the different components of the heart, how it pumps, and all this, the different stuff. I couldn't even really break it down to you unless I really like sit down and break it down to you. But it's just that goes into the power of like not external but internal for real. Like our mere heart has so many functions, and what we eat and what we drink and even stress levels have it has an effect on our heart. But it just made me think, like, there's so many things that are going on for us inside that we don't even know. Like the fact that our heart is pumping and blood and going through our arteries and things like that. It's just like the functionality inside of our body, let alone, is so amazing that we're able to walk and talk and eat and everything's functioning right. That is powerful within itself. So when you think to yourself, oh no, I'm not worthy, oh, I'm not powerful, do you know, like, the things that are going on inside of you are literally magical, that you have no clue on what's going on. You don't know how you're breathing right now. You don't know how blood is pumping right now. You don't know why you could digest your food at this moment. And so just go back to that. The fact that Kobe has a living being that is being developed, like she literally is a portal into this earth for her baby boy. And now she's going to have the power to, you just cultivate, teach them all the things that they need so that they can go out into the world, and so they can go out and be great and do more good in the world. Just an extension of her and Kyle. And so these are things that if you do nothing at all, even though you will be doing something, when you know your power, just being here is powerful. So
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I don't know, like there's just so much that you can do. If you could think it, you can do it. And what I want to say is, don't stress about it, because if you're putting your best foot forward, don't make things bigger than what they are. See things for what they are, the truth, and then move forward from there. At the end of the day, we are powerful, but God is more powerful. He's everything. And we could always tap into his power and lean on his power when our power is not enough. But his power lies within us as well. So, we always got on a God note.
Right. Divine power is the most ultimate power.
Yes.
Amen.
Great, y'all. So what time is it? It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. Y'all, if this is your first time tuning in on the Soul Filling Podcast, we always end our podcast with a positive affirmation. So what the heck is an affirmation? An affirmation is any statement that you are using to transform your life. Either you're transforming your life for the good, or you're transforming your life for the not so good. Even in the Bible, it states, let the weak say, I am strong. Keyword, it says, let the weak say. So you got to say this out loud, y'all. It says, so on those days when you feeling weak, you're not feeling like your best self, you're feeling sick and tired, down and out, whatever the case may be, we're not going to affirm those negative beliefs over our life. We're going to speak uplifting, encouraging things. I'm feeling better and better every day. My situation always ends well. I just keep coming out on top, whatever it may be, guys. Speak life into your life and over that situation. I am affirming that it's three of us, and I'm affirming that there are millions, billions, trillions, and generations to come out here tuned in. And we're going to go ahead and end this thing off with our positive affirmation. So who wants to go first?
I'll go. I am tapping into my divine feminine power.
Ooh.
I am powerful beyond measured.
I am powerful.
There you go. All right, guys.
I was going to say, Tiff, let them know where to find us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Soul Filling powerful.
Soul Filling is powerful.
Soul Filling is powerful.
Y'all powerful.
Yes, Soul Filling Podcast is found everywhere. We're on Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. And if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, use your power to go ahead and give us a 5-star rating and write something soulful and sweet, so we can keep continuing going up in the rankings. We see the numbers. We see what y'all doing, and we appreciate it. And if you aren't following us on social media, go ahead and do that now. That's Soul Filling Podcast everywhere. That's SoulFilling. And we love you so much for rocking with us. We truly love you. We'll talk to you later.
Until next time, soulmates. Bye.
Bye.
We love y'all.
We still live on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I don't even know how to stop. How do I do that?
So you go to in the Zoom, it's just